Welcome, L525 students. This is a brief introduction to our course and to the two major projects and the forums that we'll be doing as part of our course. So let's start by who's taking this course. We actually have three major groups of students in any given semester. First of all, we have students who are getting a reading edition. We also have students who are getting an English as a second language, English as a foreign language, or foreign language addition to their license. And finally, we may be getting some students who are working as teacher trainers or coaches of English as second language teachers. So each of us has slightly different course expectations and course goals, professional goals. This is called a practicum because we're doing direct work with students, or if we're teacher trainers, direct work with teachers that we're coaching. So in traditional student teaching, you would actually be working under the supervision of another teacher. However, since we're all master's students and most of us are working in an environment with kids or young adults or adults already, you'll actually be responsible for organizing your own situation. Some of these are ideal. You're working with kids who you're already teaching, or with adult learners you're already teaching. Sometimes our situations are less ideal. We need to find rooms that we can volunteer in, or we need to go to after-school programs, or we need to set up private tutoring for students. But in any case, you should have at least two people, preferably more, that you can work with on a routine basis. Your time commitment will vary depending on the week that we're in and what tasks you need to accomplish. So let's move straight into our course projects. First of all, we're going to start the semester with a case study. And in the second half of the semester, we'll be doing some action research with our own teaching or coaching. And then we'll also be using the forum discussion groups as a teacher research support group, and you'll be working with people in your forum discussions to understand the readings, to look at how you could adapt some of the assessments to meet your needs, and then also just to share your frustrations and celebrations, because there will be many of those also. Our first major project is the case study. And in the case study, you'll be looking at either reading use or language use, depending on your goals for taking this class, a reading edition or a languages, an ESL focus. You're going to get in-depth knowledge about one or two students. The number depends on the semester we're in, a full-length semester or a condensed summer semester. And the knowledge that you get from your case study should help you then plan lessons that you want to use in the second half of the semester. So when you're thinking about your case study, first of all, you're going to be thinking reading or language use, and that depends on your goals. And if you're working on ESL, you have further flexibility. You can decide whether you want to focus on oral language production. You can decide whether you want to focus on reading in English or reading in the foreign language. So much of the decision making that you do in this course depends on your course goals and the students with whom you are working. Or if you're a teacher trainer, you're working with teachers who are working on ESL certification, so you of course will be working with your teachers to decide what their goals are. Now, over the course of the case study, we'll be doing some readings that I've offered, but you also are welcome to bring in additional resources from previous courses or from internet searches or other searches of professional literature. But basically, think of a funnel. Think of a broad data gathering tool such as classroom observation or informal observations, and then look at a more focused tool where you might be having a one-on-one conversation or interview with a student, and then look at some sort of assessment that you can look at their reading or their language in use. And that will usually be some sort of an actual structured assessment, whether you've developed it or whether it's been a published one. So, like I already said, the resources that I offer are intended to be a review. You've already taken lots of methods classes. This is usually your capstone project for your master's or your certification. So you've had many other courses up to this point that have offered resources. What I've offered should hopefully be a review, but also, I hope, provide some useful tools for you, but please do suggest others if you feel like you have other ideas that would better meet your professional and teaching goals. The second half of the semester, we'll transition to our action research project. So our case study is intended to get in-depth information about one or two kids, or teachers, or adult learners. And from that detailed information, you are hopefully going to be able to look at some patterns and some generalizations and try and figure out some instructional goals for a larger group of students, though it still may be only 3 or 4 students, or it may just be the 1 or 2 you've worked with so far. Once you have your detailed information from your case study, you'll make plans for your action research. This starts with a research plan, and we'll be doing some specific readings on teacher research, on action research, that'll help give you an idea of what to look for when you're making your research plan. And then you'll develop at least 3 lessons that you will do with your students or with your teachers, or that your teachers, the teachers you are training will do with their students. Once you've developed your lessons, you'll teach them, you'll implement them, you'll gather information about them, you'll make mid-course adjustments, you'll collect data as you go along, including field notes, and finally you'll analyze that data and present a report of your findings. And your peers will also be your audience in this. I really do intend for us to be able to be a community of learners where we learn as much, where you learn as much from each other as you learn from me within the framework that I set out. So you'll continue this cycle of action research until the semester is over, and hopefully you'll get some habits and some ideas that you can use with your teaching in the long run, not just these particular lessons. Your research plan will consist of specific parts: your purpose, your questions, the lessons that you plan to teach, and your timeline for teaching those lessons. And then you'll look at some analysis tools and the resources needed. And finally, you'll actually do that research and present the findings. In general, because we're in a college academic semester, I'd like to stick to the deadlines, but if you find you're in a particular situation, you're in another location and you have some major holidays, or we have snow delays, or it's a condensed semester and your access to students didn't work out the way that you intended, I'll ask you to keep up with us on forum postings, but please do let me know via email if you have specific situations where we need to look at your deadlines. Again, at a 500 level master's course near the end of your program, each of us is a professional, and you know what you need to make this a successful learning environment and learning experience for yourself. So please do talk with me about any modifications or accommodations or adjustments that you need. I hope this overview has helped. I know that the syllabus is very detailed and very wordy. I've tried to anticipate questions that you may have based in part from questions that previous students have had, and I hope that this video kind of lays it out more informally, and I know that often actually hearing the words is useful. So please contact me if you have questions.